so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
That wasn't a joke. That was Congressman Hank Johnson. Guam will become so... It's not a joke. He says Guam would become... Play it again. No, people are driving home from work. They're driving wherever. 2 hands on the wheel, please. You have to hear this again.
My fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
This is a Congress. We have 435 of these people in the House. You'd think they'd be among our best and brightest. What was the other one you guys found? He's talking about the balloon industry. Is this correct? It's the balloon industry? The helium industry.
This bill, which shows that this Tea Party Congress will make the tough choice to keep children's birthday parties on schedule and give industries that rely on helium the lift that they deserve. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, a world without balloons.
Oh, man. This guy is cracked. All righty. Then you had Kofi Annan. I don't have audio of this, but he's out there talking about it. He's the former UN chief saying, nope. The major cause of global warming on the planet, human beings, especially humans eating meat, got to stop the livestock industry, and instead we got to start eating bugs. Charlie is in Pennsylvania. Charlie, go right ahead. Thanks for calling us from WSBA.
Yes, my point is that, for example, if an insect has the same protein value as a piece of beef, in order to feed a person, you would have to produce as many pounds of insects as you do in a beef. And that insect has to consume, and that insect has to breathe, and it has to expire. So what you're doing is you're just trading one source of, let's say, carbon dioxide for another source. The whole thing's ridiculous.
Good point. Charlie, you know how to do the math. And again, that's why I say meat is the most efficient form of protein on the planet. Thanks for calling us on the Michael Savage Show, Savage Nation. Craig is in Georgia. Oh, Craig, you're in Georgia. So I'm just curious. Are you in Hank Johnson's district?
No, praise the Lord. Thank not.
Seriously, how do people like this, and there are many of them, how do you think they get elected into the Congress year after year?
Evidently, where he lives, the constituent is just as dense as he is.
Oh, well said, Craig in Georgia. Thanks for checking in. And then we have Obama. Now, he's out there. We could play this, and we will. In fact, there's a couple other clips we didn't get to. Let's see here. Here's Obama. He's talking about life's lottery winners. Life's lottery winners. He said, we got all these people. They're hedge fund managers, etc. Let's play the hedge fund clip. This is clip 15. Go.
The top 25 hedge fund managers made more than all the kindergarten teachers in the country. So when I say that, I'm not saying that because I dislike hedge fund managers or I think they're evil. I'm saying that you're paying a lower rate than a lot of folks who are making $300,000 a year.
He doesn't understand the difference between, for example, income and assets. If you've got a stock portfolio that makes $1 million in one particular year, you're not taxed on that unless you cash the stock. Then you're taxed based on capital gains. If you're drawing a salary, that's a different thing altogether. But beyond that, the wealthier folks in this country, people with higher incomes, pay the lion's share of taxes, as we talked about earlier in the broadcast. One case in point. You've got 10% of the wage earners of this country. They're making $125,000 or more. They're paying about 70% of all income taxes. Give me a break. Let's continue with Obama as he tries to pit the haves versus the have-nots. By the way, I love the have-not stories in this country. This country is made up of those stories, of individuals who had squat, had nothing, and now they've got a lot in terms of cash and assets, etc. Another one, and I mentioned this earlier, but if you're just tuning in, I'll mention it again. How many people have you met? I know I've met tons who come to this country with very little in their pockets, not even a formal education, and they find ways to make bank. They understand money. They know how to save it. They know how to grow it. They know how to leverage it. Other people who have been here for generations with PhDs, multiple PhDs, they have no idea how to make money, but they know how to spend it. They'll spend 110% of what they make. Here is Obama going after this again. This is clip 17, please.
If we can't ask from society's lottery winners to just make that modest investment
in taxes,
then really this conversation is for show. If we can't ask that much.
You're right, and the conversation is for show, and it's for you as an ideologue representing the Democrat Party to put forward the socialist meme. That's what this is all about. Society's lottery winners. Right. These are people who are working their butts off, in most cases, to get what they've got, so to speak. Ray is calling from the left coast on this, the Savage Nation. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, Brian, it's great to hear you on national radio. He was talking about the top 25 hedge fund managers making more than all the kindergarten teachers. Did you know that the top 25 Obama donors to his campaign make more than all the teachers combined? Did you know that if you took all 25 of Obama's top 25 campaign fundraising events, and they've raised more money than would pay all of the teachers in the United States? Here's a man who set out to raise $1 billion before the last election. And how much of that did he give to kindergarten teachers if he cares so much? And think about this, Brian. This is a guy who said, the lottery winners and the lucky ones in life. I think he really believes this. I don't think it's just a leftist, Marxist line. When he says you didn't build that, he's actually saying I didn't build that. And he's projecting himself onto all of the rest of this country because he knows he didn't build a damn thing, and therefore he feels guilty about it, and so he'll just project that onto all the rest of us to make himself feel good about it. I'm hanging up on myself.
Thank you very much. This is something that you hear on a regular basis from so many liberals. They actually do feel guilty. I think this is the case with people in Hollywood. Let's be realistic. In Hollywood, especially, while there are some excellent actors who have worked very hard regarding their craft and have made career moves that have been very, very important at risky times. I get that. There are some. But there are others who just got lucky. They got lucky via a casting couch. They got lucky. They just got discovered. They've got a look. They can't act. Whatever the case may be. Some of these people turn into the biggest libs on the planet. I think it's because they feel so guilty. Where, in fact, they shouldn't feel guilty at all. They should say, you know what? This is one heck of a country. Look at me. Marginal skills. Certainly no marketable skills other than my looks. I just happen to get discovered. Ha! What a country! But they look at it completely different, don't they? By the way, speaking of a guy who's worth 54 billion, that's Larry Ellison. The Oracle founder, Larry Ellison. Now, here's a guy, he didn't get lucky. Well, I mean, there may have been a few, quote-unquote, lucky moves along the way, but this is a guy who took risks. He is a strategic business thinker. He understands money, the likes of which many of us will never. He understands business, how to grow a business, leadership, select team members, come up with ideas. The guy is brilliant, clearly. My goodness, guess who he's backing here? Marco Rubio. Ellison's going to be holding a fundraiser for the Florida Republican at his mansion here in the San Francisco Bay Area, June 9th. VIP reception, photo op, $2,700 per person. It will also include a host committee dinner for couples who've raised $27,000. Now, last year, he featured he supported another person at a fundraiser, and that would be Rand Paul. So Larry Ellison. Coming up on the Savage Nation, we're going to talk about a subject that many of you want to weigh in on still, so there's one more segment to do that. That's the Obama education plan, public boarding schools. We will talk about that. I'd also like to talk to you about Countdown to Mecca. This is Savage's new book, just out, hit the bookstores yesterday. I want to make sure you order this book. I suggest you go to a bookstore to do this, because we need to let the bookstores go unnoticed. There are many thousands of people who want this book, and you're not going to be able to hide it in the back of the store, or maybe just hide it by not purchasing copies. It's the trilogy, so you probably want to purchase all three of the books from this trilogy. It's a great book. But A Countdown to Mecca, I should say. This is a book that's very, very timely. It's a carefully plotted script that begins with a terrorist plot unfolding when a plane bound for Jordan crashes in the Caspian Sea. Only one survivor, this Russian mercenary, and also on board the flight and now missing is a cask containing some type of unprecedented destructive material. And by the way, if you've never been to San Francisco, or maybe if you have, this is a fantastic book because it's set in San Francisco and it gives you details of the city that really only a true local would have knowledge of. So it's brilliant in that way as well. Anyway, it's a great read, Countdown to Mecca. Michael Savage, Brian Sussman filling in on this, The Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust to protect my wealth with gold and silver.
Brian Sussman in for Michael Savage, The Savage Nation. Countdown to Mecca. His book is available in stores now. He's back on the air tomorrow. By the way, Senator Rand Paul has been able to read the trade bill, the fast-track bill. It's a secret bill. He's not even allowed to tell us what's in it. The only thing he's allowed to tell us is that it's 800 pages long. I don't think he likes what he sees. There are a lot of questions. Is this going to reduce or increase the trade deficit? Is it going to reduce or increase employment and wages? We don't know. It's secret. It's secret. They're doing this in secret behind our backs, folks. This is probably meant to be behind our back, but it came out yesterday. Here's Arnie Duncan, the Secretary of Education. Listen to what he says. Play it one more time, please.
The one idea I threw out that I wanted to sort of road test it with the kids and see what they thought is the idea of public boarding schools. And that's a little bit of a different idea or a controversial idea. But the question is, do we have some children where there's not a mom, there's not a dad, there's not a grandma, there's just nobody home? And there are certain kids we should have 24/7 to really create a safe environment and give them a chance.
24/7. Regina is listening from New Mexico. Regina, your comments on that statement quickly, please.
Yes, here in New Mexico we have quite a few Native Americans, and I have a Native American arts business, so I've been told the story about what happened to them when they were forced into boarding schools. And
yes.
Mostly the Catholic Church, and one man I do business with, he told me they tried to turn him into a little priest. That's how he put it.
Okay, so here's what will happen now. They're not going to turn them into little priests, other than they're going to be priests of darkness and priests of the liberal ideology. That's what they want these kids for. Thanks for your call. Savage is back tomorrow. Countdown to Mecca is available in stores now. This is, of course, the end of the trilogy. Under the threat of a third world war, nothing matters except the mission. Buy the book. Get the rest of the story. Brian Sussman, pleased to have filled in for Michael Savage on this, The Savage Nation.